Today in cannabis news, days after Mississippi legalized medical cannabis statewide, a Indiana state representative expresses desire to implement their own medical cannabis legislation. The U.S. Senate Majority Leader shares plans to submit their federal cannabis decriminalization bill in the spring of this year, and a rural town in Israel aims to become the nation's medical cannabis capital. It's Tuesday, February 8th, and this is your Trichomes Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the Trichomes.com studios in Southern California, it's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, lawmakers are working on Indiana becoming the 30th state in the U.S. to implement statewide medical cannabis legalization, according to a state representative. The representative's comments come after Mississippi became the 37th state to legalize medical cannabis in the last few days. 80% of Indiana residents back medical cannabis legalization, according to Indiana State Representative Maureen Bauer, noting that the path to legalization will not be simple. There has been some pushback from leadership in the governor's office that oppose any changes to what the federal law is, said Representative Bauer, adding that Mississippi has the same party balance that Indiana does, one party ruling the House, Senate, and a Republican governor. We can see an example of what we can achieve. It's not a question of if, but when the debate will take place in Indiana, according to Bauer. The challenge, Bauer says, is determining the initial step on the road ahead. She believes that legalizing medical cannabis is critical for the health of Indiana residents.
Next up, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said during a news briefing recently that he plans to submit his long-awaited legislation to broadly decriminalize cannabis on a federal level by April of this year. At the same conference, Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee Gerald Nadler highlighted the status of his own federal cannabis legalization legislation. In the coming weeks, we're ramping up our outreach, and we expect to introduce final legislation. Our goal is to do it in April, said Senator Schumer. Then we begin the nationwide push, spearheaded by New York, to get the federal law done. As Majority Leader, I can set priorities. This is a priority for me. Right now, we're taking those comments on the draft iteration and reaching out to Democratic and Republican senators, said Schumer. We have some Republican support. Schumer added, if any senators have other ideas that they want to add to the bill, as long as it keeps social and economic justice as the spearhead, we're happy and willing to listen.
Last up, the town of Yeraham, located in Israel's Negev desert, distant from Tel Aviv's skyline, appears to establish itself as the nation's medical cannabis innovation leader. In Israel, scores of startup firms are already focusing on medical cannabis, and new federal policies are anticipated to boost industry development in the country. We have decided to make medical cannabis the heart of our activity here in Yeraham, one of the most peripheral towns in Israel, a forgotten city, said Zaviv Bedor, founder of Can Naviv, Israel's first medical cannabis technological incubator firm. Tal Ohana was voted in 2018 as Yeraham's only female mayor in history, expressed great interest in this. My dream is to make Yeraham the capital of medical cannabis in Israel, Mayor Ohana said to AFP News Agency. It's not every day that a new market is born in Israel, continued Ohana. I told myself I have to do everything to be at the avant-garde of science and technology in this field. Cannabis consumption for recreational purposes is banned in Israel. However, it is tolerated. For the last decade, officials have promoted its medicinal usage to alleviate serious medical ailments and post-traumatic stress among combat veterans and others. That was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit trichomes.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Tech and Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation wherever you get your podcasts. For trichomes.com, I'm RJ Baldwin.
And I'm Devin Liao. Have a great day.